Hi, this is part two of my video series on creating a digital art project that I will eventually mint and create a series of NFTs that I will place on a NFT marketplace. In part one, we talked about converting a Photoshop gradient map into a LUT to use in After Effects. After that, I animated the background using Particle World and made that into a loop. Next, I created this frame in Cinema 4D and replaced the older frame. I'm going back over the whole project and replacing the frames. Naturally, I decided that on number 11 of number 12 of the series, but that's another story. I'll cover that in part three. But I did that for two reasons. One, it's a variable factor in the NFT series, meaning if I release this animation again, because there's only one of these animations, the frame and the style of the frame could vary in future releases. And two, I decided to have a consistent square frame where the original artwork had varying sizes. Also, I decided to demonstrate the process on different parts of the project since I got tired of tracking and covering this girl's boob. So let's get started. Let's take a quick look at the finished product. We got a repeating background effect, a ripple effect, and some film grain. As you can see, we have the old frame here, but like I said, we'll cover that in part three. Here's the frame imported from Illustrator, and it will be remade in Cinema 4D. Here's our lovers, which will be slightly animated using the puppet tool. That's why they're separated. Here we have some damaged film effects that we are looping in the background. Here we have a hue and saturation effect that came over from Photoshop. It's our ripple effect, which we're going to lay over our background effect. I've already deleted the loops so I can demonstrate how I made it here. The principle is simple. I have a 4-second clip that scales up from 100 to about 115. And at 2 seconds, it fades out from 100% to 0. For this 30-second clip, we need approximately 15 or 16 copies. So Command D to duplicate and make 15, 16 copies. Select the clip on the top and then the one on the bottom. That order matters. Go up to the animation tab, and select Keyframe Assistant and choose Sequence Layers. In our case, we're going to want to choose Overlap, and we're going to want to overlap it for 2 seconds. I added a few frames for safety. So now you see each time it passes over the clip, one fades out, and then there's another one, and it fades out, and there's another one, and so on. And that's basically how that's done. The next thing we're going to want to do is make this loop. So we want to pull back the whole sequence so it starts at the beginning of the first fade. You'll also notice that the end isn't even, but don't worry about that because we're going to make it loop in the other comp. Okay, first, let's get rid of these old background layers and pull in the new background comp. You may have noticed that this comp is shorter than the background comp, and that's because we need to cut it in half and overlap it in the middle. So use Command-Shift-D to split it, then move the upper middle part to the beginning of the timeline. I like to use the home key so I'm exactly at the beginning, and then left bracket key to make sure that clip is exactly at 0. Now using the end key, move your playhead to the exact end of the movie and use the right bracket key to move that clip exactly to the end. Now you'll see that when the movie ends, it takes a second to preview, when the movie starts over, it'll be a perfect loop without any glitches. Now, in the middle of the clip, you just need a simple crossfade and then kind of tweak the keyframes a little bit so that the crossover happens in a nice place, and it's you don't see any weirdness. So now we're going to add the ripple effect to an adjustment layer. So go up to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and then go to Effects, Distort, Ripple, a Ripple Effect. So here's the background with just the loop, and here's the background with the ripple effect over the loop, which gives, I think, a second layer of dimensionality. So you've got this lovely couple on a planet with a strange rippling sky, and they, of course, just have to get their picture taken in front of it. So for the ripple, I made the radius 100, left the center centered, changed it to symmetrical, made the speed 1, the wave width 34. And you can see if you adjust the width, gives you a different, kind of look. I felt like 34 was a good place to be. But the height is 28, and you can see how that changes the background, which looks cool, but I wanted to see it a little bit better. And that's it. That's how I did the background. In the next episode, I'm going to go over how I build these frames. So I hope that you check that out. Till next time.